Okay, so today's guest, I'm joined by Mr. George Rhys Thomas, a professional actor. And we did try and do something last week, actually, but he ended up flitting off to Ukraine and filming an advert. It looked class, to be fair, mate. I have to say,
Yeah, it
what
was
sort
fun.
of vibe? You looked like a little sort of noir vibe with your little whiskey glass, and pretty cool, mate. What was it for?
It was
If you don't mind me
for.
asking.
I think I can say what it's for now. It's for Schweppes,
Oh,
which is pretty cool. So
nice.
I in that little whiskey glass, I was actually just drinking tonic water. So it wasn't as exciting as whiskey, but it's
Proper
fun. Yeah,
alcohol.
I'm paying for it now, being in quarantine for 10 days, but I guess it was worth it. Good payday, really.
That's okay. A lot of sport to catch up on as well for you, and
Exactly.
weather's turning in North. You missed all the. What day did you get back, actually?
I got back on the 14th, and I was traveling
Okay.
back from
So you've
London
had a
on the
few
14th.
days of being locked in when the weather's been lovely.
Yeah,
It's changing
yeah.
a bit now, I think, though. It's horrible today. Well, it
It's
isn't
not
real. Anyway.
great, is it? I managed to get outside because we got quite a big garden here, so I managed to get outside and just sort of either sunbathe or just play with my dog or whatever. So it was all right.
Ah, that's nice. Anyway, George is also the co-host of one of my favourite football podcasts, and I think it's one of the best concepts for a podcast I've seen in a while, actually, Nostalgia FC. George is also a Wrexham and a Manchester United fan, but sorry, it isn't United, right? I haven't just plucked that out of nowhere.
It is United, but Wrexham
Wrexham mainly.
And
more importantly, a Wales fan.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
How are you doing today anyway, mate? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you for jumping back on. And appreciate you guys letting me have you on have me on yours as well and throw my terrible team out there at you.
Yeah. We've had a couple of Arsenal fans since you as well, which is quite interesting. All picked Thierry Henry, obviously. So.
Oh yeah, now I'm going to address something JJ said in your last episode, actually, but I'll get onto that in a bit.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. It's not going to get too spicy or anything. It's I was going to say it's a Sunday morning, but it's just about Sunday afternoon. So flying in on the red eye because they still never put the UFC on a decent time for us. Before we start today, anyway, did you see the video this morning? Well, I saw it this morning, I should say. I think it was Owen that I saw retweet it. It was all the Barca players with Messi and the Copa del Lana Rey. Copa Lana del Rey, sorry, that messed up my own pun there. And it was like one of those terrible club nights you go to at uni where the Chuckle Brothers or
someone from like Geordie Shore, yeah.
Exactly. And you wait about 45 minutes getting double vodka and Coke spilled on you every time someone goes past in the queue, and you sort of half wanting to go for a fag and half wondering, is it worth queuing up? Or
it's one of those things where he's obviously stood there by the trophy and everyone's coming up and having a photo with him, and he tries to leave about 4 or 5 times, and like someone grabs him and says, and it's like, I get it, I sort of get it because he is the best player in the world, but you're on a team with him. Like, you're acting like fans and you're on a team with him. That you're his teammate. Like, be a bit. I don't know. It's probably just me thinking about this. And maybe if I was in that situation, I'd do exactly the same thing and be like, Messi, take a photo with me. But you're on a team with him.
I've always thought about that. Like, if by some miracle I'd managed to turn pro at 16 and I was in the Arsenal dressing room, I'd try to think who we'd have had in the side at that age. Probably like Sanchez and Ozil. Would I have managed to keep it together? It's sort of been cool. Like, oh, you're right, mate. How you doing? Yeah, cracking goal at the week. I said, oh, hello, Mr. Sanchez. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, can we sign my number 7 shirt?
Like me saying that now, sat at home in Abergele, like it means nothing because I might be wrong, but
sorry, mate, we're all human, aren't we?
It's a funny sight to see, and also it just shows how incredible that man is. That all his teammates just want a photo with him with the trophy because they're probably going to have that photo and then show their grandkids in so many years and say, look, that's me with Messi with the trophy. Like, yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, how many times are you going to be on the side of, arguably the greatest player of all time? I know there's a bit of a debate between him and Ronaldo, not getting to that today, but if you're a footballer and you've won a trophy with one of the greatest, you're going to crack it out, like you said, family occasions, and they probably will stick on Instagram nowadays as well.
It's
bloody PR advisor. I got 500k likes. Can have a little bonus in my next contract. Or so it's part of the game nowadays.
What made me laugh about that video was like a load of the youngsters were coming over and taking a photo with him, and then I think it was Rakitic comes over, and then Pjanic comes over, and I was like, come on, lads, you're decent players in itself. You're star players in on your own right, like. But
I don't think Rakitic needs much of an ego boost or anything. World Cup finalist,
Exactly.
pretty tidy player for Barcelona over the years. Same with Pjanic, you know. Anyway, I mentioned Nostalgia FC before. I said it was one of my favorite concepts for a podcast.
Cheers, man. Appreciate that.
Do you go? Instead of me explaining it, you're one of the co-hosts. Do you want to explain how it works for everyone?
Yeah, I'd love to take credit for the actual concept, but unfortunately for me, it was Drew, my co-host's concept. So basically, it's just a concept where we'll get on a guest each week who will give us their favorite football in 11. Now that might be the favorite players they've watched on TV or anything like that, but it could be a mix of that and players that they've played with at grassroots level, Sunday League, back when they were in school, and you just end up getting some really funny teams, stories. It's just a lot of, I hate this word, but there's a lot of banter on there, sort of just around it all. It's just a laugh. And I do love doing it. And it was a concept at first that we were just like, let's just have a laugh and do it. But touch wood now, it seems to be growing. It seems to be doing all right. So I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, it seems like it's taken off a bit for you guys. You're getting a hell of a lot of guests on. Like you pre-recording episodes in advance. I never do that with this show. Like I'm always last minute ringing around. Oh, do you want to jump on, mate?
We've been last minute this week because of my little trip away. So we had to get one in, I think, yesterday for Tuesday. So that's a quick turnaround. But hopefully we'll get back on it and back sort of pre-recording episodes.
I'd be having a night of good sleep if I'd recorded 3 days in advance, mate. I wouldn't be worrying, lying away.
So 3 days in advance for us is that's late.
So I really enjoyed the episode you guys did as well, where you came on and did the Europe and Drew's team. When I picked mine, I was trying to bear in mind some of the other 11s that have been selected. So because I played like a really weird 5 at the back, trying to sort of shore up the midfield and stay, because they were having like Ronaldinho, Rivaldo. Try to think who else was that. So Ian Rush. So I was thinking, Imi, Ashley Williams, and a Sunday League centre back. I'm going to probably have to ridge it up a bit.
That's what I mean. But that's personally for me. I don't know about Drew as well, but personally for me, that's what I want as Nostalgia to be: is have like professional football player, one of your mates in Sunday League, yourself, a fictional. I think Imi picked Waluigi from the Mario World.
Yes, 7 foot Waluigi overtaking Dan Burn as the tallest fullback in the world.
If I remember rightly, so you had Jose Aldo, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jose Aldo was my left wing back.
I love
those like kicking power. You got to have it in there. So a bit of Sunday League shithousery as well. Like, no, I was getting onto that because I was going to say, how do you think a match against your team and Drew's team would go? Who'd win that one?
I can't fully remember Drew's team. I can remember mine.
I should have written both down. To be fair, this is poor prep by me.
What do you have here? Jabi Alonso, Gerrard. Was it Maxi Rodriguez? Yeah, hold on. I've got my little booklet here.
I think it was Maxi Rodriguez.
I've got my booklet here with like all of the teams
scored
in.
That. He was the one that scored that absolute worldie in the World Cup, was he?
Yeah, I think he was. I'm not going to be able to find this now quick enough.
Oh, that's okay. I've put you on the spot there. That's my...
I mean, I'd probably have to say mine just to back my own team. The only problem is with mine is I put players in there to just spite Drew. I put Scott McTominay in there. Like, hot take on this, and probably people knew it when I picked him. He wouldn't be in my favourite 11 of all time. It would have been Paul Scholes there instead. But because I'm the host of it and I was trying to like get new stories in there, I was trying to like pick players that hadn't been picked before or we would be able to have new stories about. So Paul Scholes didn't make my team, unfortunately. So I put Scott McTominay in there just because Drew said to me like weeks and weeks before it, you better not put Scott McTominay in your team. And I was like, well, I definitely am now.
Just ask him for it at that point. Was it? I think your midfield too was like Roy Keane and Scott McSauce, something like that. Absolutely terrifying.
It was Gattuso.
Gattuso and McSauce, that's it. I mean,
would not get along.
You're not going to want to run past them, are you?
Yeah, Scott McTominay's got a bit of a hard streak about him, but he's not. Like, it makes me laugh that I had Scott McTominay lining up against Gattuso, Riquelme, David Beckham, Wayne Rooney. I can't remember who was on my left. Francesco Totti. Oh. Like, he doesn't fit in, but
like the little work experience kid with all the leisure. I do like McTominay though, but I have a
I love
habit
him.
of
I love him, and you speak to any United fan, and they absolutely love him. He's a bit of a cult hero there at the moment.
I have a bit of an issue with fantasy league. I've got a switcheroo between him and Suchek constantly throughout the season. I'll bench one. They'll have
Ooh.
a good week that week, and the other one will play and get yellow
Yeah,
carded. So
it's
they'll have
all
like
good.
one
It's all going
point.
to depend on like who they're playing. But I personally think Souček's a better player. I think Souček's one of the better players this year. I think he's the reason West Ham are where they are. But
Definitely one of the better signings of the year as well.
Hmm.
I think clubs like that, sort of West Ham, Leicester, even Everton to a point, like just the recruitment compared to like Arsenal. Don't want to say, I can't say United. You guys are doing brilliantly this year, considering.
yeah, we spoke about this actually on the podcast we recorded yesterday. We were talking about Solskjaer and how he doesn't. It's a bit of a spoiler, but doesn't really matter. But we were talking about Solskjaer and how he doesn't really make the substitutions when they need to be made, and we think it's because he doesn't have faith in his substitutions. And when you look at the subs bench when we have it there, we don't have the depth that City have. We don't have the depth that well, no, apart from City, no one's really got the depth in the Premier League at the moment. I was going to say Liverpool, but see how much they're struggling with that, the defence. Because in midweek we had, I think it was 4 academy players on the bench. One had never played a game for the first team. Will Fish, centre back. I'd never heard of him, and he was on the bench.
Sounds like Football Manager regen to me.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I kept making puns up about his name. I felt bad saying he was out of his depth and things like that. But
Were you fishing for laughs?
Nice. So yeah, it's I think Ollie doesn't have faith in his subs. He doesn't have faith in Donny van der Beek, who was 40 mil.
Yeah, he's your big marquee. Well, no, you got Tellers in last year. Was he your big sign in the summer, Van der Beek? Was he January? I can't remember.
He was in the summer. I think
into one.
I think both him and Tellers were the summer. Like you say, it all seems to have just rolled into one. But I think him and Tellers were the same time, or at least Tellers came at the same time as Donny did. Don't know whether we bought him earlier. Tellers has been the better signing. Donny, like, I don't blame Solskjaer because Donny's done nothing. He's done nothing.
I think for me as well, it's where he fits into that midfield for you guys because
he plays the Fernandes role, doesn't he? And it's just like you're not going to keep Fernandes out of that side.
Exactly. I think, did you ever go playing in false 9 one game or sort of like a shadow striker type thing?
Yeah, I think they've tried.
I don't know if
they've
it was
tried
a
him
European
in
game or something.
They've tried him in like the central midfield positions where like Pogba's been, where McTominay's been, where Fred's been. Didn't really do anything. They've given Bruno a rest and brought Donny in, and he's just not. I know he can do it as well because I've watched him. I've watched him at Ajax and things like that. I know he can do it, and I know he's a fantastic player. I don't know whether it's confidence issue, whether it's. I really want him to do well, but
yeah, I thought he was going to come over and do really well.
I thought he was going to be a big player for us, but maybe he'll be one of those ones that blossoms in his second year. But then again, he's most probably going to be one of those players that doesn't do it for United, goes somewhere else, and absolutely smashes it, like Depay, Di Maria.
Yeah.
I could name it loads of. I don't know how Sanchez did. Lukaku.
Yeah. Nothing more heartaching than when a player leaves your team with so much potential and then they start smashing it in for other teams.
Lukaku's the one as well because we've been after an out and out striker for so long. Still don't really have it. I know we got Cavani, but I love Cavani, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's that out and out striker we need. We need like a Harry Kane, a Lukaku at the moment, Haaland, Lewandowski, one of them sort of players. But you're going to pay big money for someone like that in this summer, and no one's got the money to do it. United are probably probably the team that do, but
yeah, as well with them. I mean, on the other show I do, Sports Talk, it's not Welsh themed, so we get into more bits like this. We're thinking, like, with Aguero going, you like to think that City have already got a replacement either earmarked or signed ready and they're not going to announce it. Might be Haaland, or like it's going to be one of those other top level strikers. Who else is available to bring in really at the minute? Haaland, Lukaku. So trying to draw him off the top of my head is quite hard.
The only problem with Haaland, because Kane said, or at least his agent said that he wants to leave if they don't get top 4, and it looks like after the draw on Friday they're not going to get top 4. He said he wants to leave, But the only thing is, between Kane and Haaland, they're both big money signings, and it's who has that money. Madrid and Barca don't have that money at the moment. They're really struggling money-wise.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea. Is that why because Atletico were top for quite a while in Spain, I think, weren't they? They were running away with it.
Barca are on the verge of bankruptcy. Are really struggling. Real Madrid aren't as bad. They just don't have the money they usually have, which is why they've struggled. But I think it's because of Zidane's footballing brain. They've managed to turn it around and just figure something out. And now they're in the semi-finals of the Champions League. So it's working out for them.
Fair play. No, I still think he's a bit underrated as a manager, Zidane.
I think he is.
Cracking footballing brain. He's done. He would have had an easier time when he had Ronaldo and Bale at his disposal. But the fact he's sort of stopped the slide a bit now, and they played really well in the Champions League against Liverpool, considering, I think, a bit of a makeshift
even that second
leg.
Even that second leg where it's like Liverpool were I'd say all over them. They were the better side, but they kept calm, collected, and they just knew what to do and did it.
Yeah,
and that's all you can ask for from a team.
Exactly. That's how you win tournaments as well, especially game over 2 legs. You've got such a good result in the first leg. Just keep it tight. Don't do anything stupid. Rely on those players to get you over the line. And that's why there was 9 Champions Leagues. That's why they're the most decorated team the most decorated European team, is it? Or have I got that completely wrong?
I think you're right. I think it's definitely Real Madrid, isn't it?
I throw things like that out there sometimes and hope they're right. Throw some shit.
No, I think Real Madrid are. But yeah, I'm not too sure on it, but I'm 99% sure.
Let's put an asterisk next to it. Anyway, I said before I did quite enjoy your last episode with JJ. I would like to dig my heels in on the Pavel Nedved situation, though, because undoubtedly he is the greatest Czech player of all time. I believe he's the only Czech player to win a Ballon d'Or. Again, I'm not gonna
over Rosicky, Thomas Rosicky.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Thomas Rosicky will be forever etched in my memory for those multiple goals against Spurs.
Yeah.
And a bit like Henry, when you saw the yellow and black Nike kit with the O2 logo on, he put his little gloves on, you're like, oh God, he's ready for war, isn't he? So I knew it was coming. But, if we're going to talk Arsenal players held back by injury, there's only one, and it's Abu Diaby, and any other argument's wrong.
Yeah, so. I think we did mention him on the podcast, and that's just tragic. Yeah. It is tragic, that whole thing. It's nice of them that they kept him on for so long as well.
It was. I think Wenger just really saw him as a player that he could sort of turn into like a Yaya Toure type figure. There was one game he had.
I believe he would have been a top player.
Oh, mate. There was one game he had against Liverpool. I think it was the last year we had Van Persie, or it might have been the year before that. We won 2-1 at Anfield. I think he missed the first game of the season, but he just got back in time for the second, which was the Liverpool game. Absolutely ran the show, completely dominated the midfield. I think he gets injured the game after about half an hour in, and then he's gone for another year. But he'd just come back and put performances in like that. And then he's had knees made of paper or something. It was just such a shame. Some people, the body just isn't cut out for the physicality of the professional game, or, they've had one too many knee injuries and it just reoccurred. I'm not sure what his main reoccurring issue was, but I don't think there's ever been someone so unlucky, in my opinion, being a biased Arsenal fan. So.
Yeah, there's probably like a lot of players for other teams that people feel they're more unlucky, but I think I agree with you in the fact that he was going to be a hell of a player and he just couldn't get there.
Oh, well, it'll be a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire question in about 20 years, or a bit of trivia on your show.
The only thing, going back to JJ's episode on nostalgia, he had some, we'll call them hot takes or controversial opinions about a lot of things. So Thomas Rosicky being Czech Republic's best player, I think I agree with you. I think Pavel Nedved probably is Czech Republic's best player, but when someone's a guest on our show, we let them say what they want to say. He said Ozil's the best ever number 10 and best ever. You might agree with that being an Arsenal fan. I'm struggling to think of someone else because Ozil is very good when you're thinking of like proper number 10s, but saying he's the best is a big shout.
I agree with his arguments and justification behind it, as in statistically he's the best number 10 games to assists and goals, I think the ratio they probably use for that is. And I also really quite enjoyed his hot takes. He helps keeps everyone intrigued. I quite enjoyed the episode. I have to say, I just thought,
it's a really good episode.
He's
such a well spoken guy, and like he's got a degree in law. That's what he's going on to do, and his end goal is to be prime minister one day. So that would be amazing. But it's just like he speaks very, very well, and he's got his opinions, and he knows his facts, which is really good to have on our show. The one hot take that really riled me up a little bit was that Wenger was a better manager than Ferguson, and me and you getting into it probably isn't going to help solve the situation at all. One thing he did say, and I held myself back, is that Ferguson's never nurtured any talent like Wenger has. And I was there thinking, it's the class of '92 though. David Beckham, Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, like that's wrong, isn't it? But I
can see that. He did it once. Fair play. That's admirable to a point.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just poking the bear at this point.
But what I will say is he had very good points, and I can't say a bad word about Arsene Wenger because he's a hell of a manager, and I think not just for Arsenal fans, for any football fan, it's a sore point how he left Arsenal, and a lot of Arsenal fans turning on him was nasty. But no other manager's gone invincible. You can put it that way.
Exactly. That's the one thing that made me turn on most other Arsenal fans, to be honest with you, because when I started watching, I think it was the Invincibles season, my first that I recall, which is quite handy because we won the title in great fashion. It's weird. I'm sure it's the same for you. Fergie was the United manager your whole life.
Yeah.
Practically. Probably. Like, it's just weird sort of them moving on. It's like, oh, right. Okay. Where do we go from here then? What's going to happen? We're never going to have that stability.
Yeah. It's this odd thing where it almost doesn't feel like the same team anymore because, like you say, when I was born, even when I wasn't watching football, Fergie was United's manager, which was just mental. And then he carried on until, when did he leave? 2000 and... In my head, I've got 12, but I don't think that's right.
12, 13, something like that.
Yeah. So he left then. And then it was just this weird thing of seeing a different person at the helm, and it was like David Moyes at the helm, and it was just like anyone else who would have been manager at that point, I would have been like, this doesn't feel right. And I always think whoever took over from Fergie, and the same with Wenger, we're never going to succeed because you're being compared to two of the greatest managers that have ever been and have stayed at one side, which won't ever happen again, I don't think. Stayed at one side for over 20 years. So they were always going to fail, and they keep failing. And now with Ollie, he's not the greatest manager ever, but he's got that ethos that he knows how United work, and he knows the United way because he was there for so long. So I quite like him being that. I don't think he's going to be the big solve. I don't think he's going to win the title, but it's sort of nice to have him there for now.
Yeah, I think he's the right kind of manager to restart I know he sort of had a bit of a attempted rebuild with Moyes and Van Gaal and Mourinho, but yeah. I think Ollie's doing a much better job with the squad he's got in front of him as well. Like you see, I think he was at Cardiff City for a while. I don't think he did very well in charge of that.
He was awful at Cardiff. Yeah, I think they got relegated.
I think so. Yeah.
He was there when they were playing in red, wasn't he? I think.
I think so. Yeah, when Vincent Tan decided to switch a badge over and everything, worst decision chairman's ever made.
What was it? Because it was more marketable or something like that. And I was like, you're going to anger some fans here.
I think so. Was he Thai or something? So I think
yes.
the bit of Asia he's from, the dragon's like a big symbol of power. It's a big part of their culture.
Yeah,
it's on the flag behind me. Obviously,
I think that's another reason he picked it, because
Yeah.
He changed the logo and the mascot to a red dragon, didn't he? Which annoyed me, as you can probably imagine, because Cardiff are always blue, Wrexham are red. Wrexham's mascot is the dragon, Cardiff's mascot is the bluebird. So when they did that, I was like, oh. So he didn't just anger Cardiff fans, he angered Wrexham fans. It was... I
still don't understand how he thought that'd go down well with fans at all. Any club, you change the colour or you change your brand, like the Red Bull teams and that. I know Leipzig, they've restarted a fan-owned team for the Leipzig side, same with Salzburg, because they've both played FC United. But one of the main things that annoyed the fans was not necessarily the fact Red Bull were buying the teams. They were completely changing the badges, rebuilding the stadiums and that, changing the kit colours. Why? Like, if you want to buy a football club and invest into it, fair enough. But these historic things that literally, you're an Arsenal fan, you're a United fan, you're a Liverpool fan, you're a red. You're a Chelsea fan, you're an Everton fan, City, you're a blue.
And you're not changing that.
It's like how you can't.
Liverpool are all red. United are red, white, and black. Arsenal are red with the white sleeves. Yeah. You shouldn't change that. Madrid, most recognisable team in the whole world because they play in all white. Leeds, I think, changed their kit because of Real Madrid. Yeah. Didn't they used to play in blue and yellow?
Yes, they did, because the old badge was blue and yellow as well. I think. I really know this. I used to work at Ellen Road.
Did you know? I only found this out because I was having a conversation with my dad about it. I can't remember why we were chatting about it. But you know why Juventus play in black and white stripes?
No.
Oh, I do remember why, because we were watching Wrexham and Notts County game. That's why we were talking about it. Oh. But basically, they used to play in this weird pink shirt with a black tie. They used to wear the tie while playing football. The most random thing. And whoever owned the club at the time was just like, this isn't right. This isn't working right. Asked around for like suggestions from people for a new kit, and obviously Notts County being the first ever football team, the oldest team in the world, wear black and white stripes. And someone from over in England who was a Notts County fan told them about it, so they started wearing black and white. So that's why Juventus wear black and white, is because of Notts County.
Oh mate, that's a cracking bit of trivia. I had absolutely no idea that.
Good, isn't it?
That's really funny, because it was Nottingham Forest that influenced the Arsenal kits. When we started up as Dial Square, I think it was 1886. They couldn't afford a ball or shirts. I think it was, they were near the dock. I think Woolwich Arsenal was near the dock. So I think it was like a factory for one of the factory team for like gun factory or some of the workers down there. I can't quite remember, but the reason we have the red with the white sleeves is because we were sent Old Forest shirts and a ball by them. So they sent us like 11 to be able to put a side out, and it's crazy. You wouldn't get stuff like that. I know football's a completely different thing nowadays.
It's a lovely story to have, isn't it? It's a lovely story to sort of to have in here.
Definitely, mate. Before we have a little chinwag about yesterday's game, I'll say Saturday for anyone, because this goes out on a Thursday. So they're going to be like, wait, what? Wrexham haven't played this midweek. We're talking about. Do you want to talk a little bit about takeover? Because I believe both you and your dads are both supporters trust members, therefore shareholders in Wrexham. So
we were.
What were your initial thoughts when you heard first thread of the news?
I was at work in a bar when I first heard it, because Drew, my co-host for the podcast, actually messaged me and was like, "Have you seen this?" So before that, we knew that someone was putting in a bid to take over Wrexham, and we'd had emails because we were part of the Sports Trust. We had emails that said a well-known American business partnership are looking to take over Wrexham and buy Wrexham. So we were like, well known, I wonder who that is. And we were trying to figure it out. And in the end, we came to the conclusion of it's probably well known within the business world. It's going to come out and we're going to have absolutely no clue who that is. So that's just what we came up to. So went on with lives, just kept denying the news about it all. Because it's exciting anyway to hear that your team might possibly be taken over by a wealthy businessman. I went into work that day. Drew messaged me. And I quickly took my break. Probably shouldn't have taken my break, but I took my break, read all up about it. I was like, what the hell? Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. And at first I was like, nah, that can't be true. And then as soon as that come out, I checked my emails, and we'd had an email saying who it was, and that they were going to do a pitch to the Supporters Trust. So they did it over Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
So I was there, sat there at my kitchen table, laptop up, headphones on, didn't want any distractions. And lo and behold, they came on the screen, Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. And I could probably send you a photo if you want to use it for your social media or anything like that. I was just sat there watching them pitch for an hour to us what their plans were and what they wanted to do. And they were such lovely people, and they were obviously so invested, and they hadn't just gone, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, let's pick that team. They'd searched the history of Wrexham, not just the history of Wrexham Football Club, but this town itself. They knew about the mining disaster that happen in Wrexham and things like that. Little things like that is going to make the fans absolutely fall in love with you. It's not the fact that you're big movie stars or anything like that. It's just, and you can tell they had absolutely bought into the team and they were fans, both of them. It wasn't just that they were looking for a business opportunity; they're fans, especially Rob, who is now tweeting in Welsh. If you've got him on Twitter,
I saw that yesterday. Brilliant,
amazing. And they're both very, very passionate about it. So that they were sort of saying what they were going to do, and that they were going to not just throw money into the club, but to the community surrounding the club. They wanted the community to also benefit from all this. They've stayed true to their word. I don't know if you've seen. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Rob bought a whole new bathroom for a disabled Wrexham supporter.
One of the special access so that chap can get into it and have a proper. He donated the entire thing to have the work done on his house, didn't he?
Yeah. So his whole bathroom's been kitted out with everything he needs. His whole house. It's just like, oh my God, like absolutely falling in love with this man. And it's also just lovely to see, like I say, that they're fans. They're just. So when they did the pitch, they were talking about they want to I don't know what word I'm looking for, do up the stadium and the training facilities and things like that and get that to a better standard. They wanted to bring in a director of football, which we haven't had. Well, we haven't had, to my knowledge, in my lifetime. They brought in what was her title? They brought in a woman who's
Fleur Robinson.
Yeah.
Was she at? I think she was at Burton Albion for a few years. Is she? She a chairperson?
Yeah, something along those lines. So they're making the right moves into what you want to do, and I still think they're looking for a director of football, which is what I think you need. They've released bonuses for the players to try and get promotion. So if the players get promotion, they're going to get like a bit of a pay package, which is just like, I love that. So there's a lot of things that they're just putting in place, and on this pitch, it was really funny because they were both chatting about it and they were down to earth. And Ryan Reynolds said, "Our aim is to be the best team in Wales." Now, to me, that's already a massive statement, because at the moment, is it Swansea? Swansea probably.
Swansea pushing third, fourth place at the minute.
Yeah.
So
Swansea are the best team in Wales at the moment, if you're going up by that logic. We're a hell of a long way off that. And but when he said that, I think it was Rob McElhenney, he was like, no, I want more than that. I want to win the Premier League. I want to do this. And it's like, it's lovely that that's where your heart is. It's not going to happen, but it's lovely that that's where your heart is, and that's what you want to do, and that's what you want to achieve. And Rob McElhenney, he's from Philadelphia, and he was saying the reason he fell in love with Wrexham is he sees similarities between Wrexham and Philadelphia and things like that. It's just lovely to hear. So that's why he fell in love with it and stuff like that. And he's really taken it on. I think him more so than Ryan. I think Ryan Reynolds is it's a business opportunity. Rob McElhenney is a fan, and he's a fan that owns the club, and I love that. So yeah, I think only good things from here on out. This season, it might not happen. We're in promotion places at the moment, but you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. It's going to take a bit of time for you to get the results and things. Salford straight away didn't go straight through the leagues. After a while, when they got the money and sort of started doing it, that's when they went. But we'll see.
That's the thing, it is a gradual process. But at least it does seem like they're not, because with some owners, they come in, I don't know if you've seen those Sunderland documentaries, but they'll come in for 2 years, have a bit of a crack at it, and oh no, it's not working, sod it, I'll sell to someone else.
Is that Sunderland Till I Die?
Sunderland Till I Die. Or Ellis Short, for example, he'll just be over in America not doing anything, just like, oh, you won 3 million for this season. Well, here's 800,000. And if you don't win the thingy this season, you're not having any more. So tough. So like you said, they're invested in the community. That's what the football club needs to be. I think, to me, seeing Wrexham as a bit of an outsider, but I've been to more bloody Wrexham games and I've been to Arsenal games, to be honest with you. But they are a community football club. They are a part. I know a lot of smaller teams are like that in their community. Same can be said about FC, in fairness, FC United. But for me, I just love Rob McElhenney so much. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, same. It's one of
You
my
can
favorite
tell he's a
shows.
massive fan of sort of the underdog stories. Because he's a massive Eagles fan, isn't he? They did about 3 episodes when they won the Super Bowl that year. But yeah, I think there is what he said as well about Wrexham being a sleeping giant and it's one of the oldest football clubs in the
Yeah.
world, or one of the oldest football clubs in the UK. They've obviously done their research. They know about the area. They're wanting to actually become an active part of the community, and that is going to draw so many more people on side. Like you're probably going to get a good proportion more fans from around the area just by the fact of who the owners are.
Yeah.
But if they then see them taking active roles in the community, more people are going to jump on side. So you're going to exponentially grow your audience and your sort of gate coming to the ground. They might even get around to terracing the cop so they can let a few more people in as well. So
that they
is
have
that being
mentioned that's
done?
one of their plans is basically that cop end to sort of it'll be good, and hopefully we do get more fans and more people in and more youngsters wanting to sort of go to the games. Things it'll be interesting to see when fans are finally allowed back in what that first gate attendance is. I'll be there 100%.
Oh, definitely.
But,
I'm moving to Chester in 2 weeks, so I've got even less of an excuse not to be there if I can get my hands on a ticket. But...
that was another thing they kept saying during the pitch meeting was it was something like our 3-stage plan is this, and always to beat Chester or something like that. It was like, okay.
Because of FC United, I have a bit of a bone against Chester because about the time they got their owner, where they got a little bit of money coming in, can't remember the guy's name who took over. They were in FC's league, I think it was called the Isthmian Premier. Oh no, that's the southern one. It was the Northern Premier. So it's the one before you get into the Conference North or whatever, the National League North, I think they call it now, don't they? They at the start of the season bought 3 of our 4 best players, sat them on the bench the whole season, rinsed it. Well, I say rinsed us one of them. Got a jammy 1-0 goal at the Diva Stadium, which is in Wales, by the way, Chester. So cry a bit harder about that. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and also my girlfriend's from Chester. Ella, I still hate the fact that you actually went to a Chester City game on Boxing Day and hung a fucking Chester scarf on the back of your door.
Oh,
yeah. Probably going to make me sound like a bit of a bastard, but I made her throw it out.
I remember
having that in the house. I'm sorry.
If you ever want to hate Chester or Chester fans anymore, which is not hard for a Wrexham fan to say, but we did. Do you remember when they were really struggling financially, and it was looking like they were going to go into administration. Wrexham have a collection each home game, and they have a collection. Each home game is for something different.
Mm-hmm.
When this happened, they had a collection for Chester City, or is it Chester City or just Chester FC? I can't remember. But they had a collection for them, and Wrexham fans were throwing money in, and I threw money in because you want that rivalry. That's part of football.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of football. You don't want to, as much as you hate Chester, you still want them to be a thing because you want to beat them. You want that rivalry. You want that hatred towards the side. Every side has it. So we did it, and people were giving money. And I saw a tweet on the same day when it tweeted out that said that Wrexham's collection was for Chester, from a Chester fan saying something like, "Fuck you, we don't want your money." And it was like, mate, if you don't have our money, you're going out of business. You're not going to have a football team. So keep crying.
I was Jesus, can they like this?
And I thought it was such a respectful thing for the Wrexham Football Club to do, and then to have Chester fans like be like that. I was like, oh, you're just making it worse for yourself.
Yeah, things like that. You have to put the rivalry to one side. You never. It's about the time of Hillsborough in the last week or so, isn't it? You never see the Liverpool and Everton fans sort of. You get a few idiots on social media, but for the most part, you put the rivalry to one side. Something awful's happened. It's a respectful thing. I'm not comparing a club going into administration to 96 people dying, but you never want to see a club go under, regardless of how much you hate them, do you?
Well, with the Hillsborough disaster, I even shared Liverpool's post about it and put "You'll Never Walk Alone" and things like that. And I saw so many other people do it. I saw City fans doing it, Everton fans doing it. At that point, rivalry goes out the window, like allegiances go out the window, and it's just about paying respect to people that lost their lives watching something they love watching.
Exactly.
Which is tragic.
Yeah, no one shouldn't not come back from a game. No one should have to go through that.
It's horrible. Horrible. And the families. And the whole thing about the not having justice for And they probably still don't fully have justice yet, but they got some form of it. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
A couple of years ago, yeah, they finally got South Yorkshire Police and the Sun to admit that they're full of it, which, wouldn't be the first time the Sun's completely fucking lied about something.
How the Sun's still a newspaper, I'll never know. How people still buy that thing.
That's the one benefit of all the Scousers living in North Wales. No offence to any Scousers listening. It's a bit of a running joke, but because of all of them, in our local Spa, they physically cannot sell the Sun, so they have it on the counter. They're like, would you like a free paper today? And sometimes I take it because we have a log burner at home and newspapers rolled up with a toilet roll thing put on them. It makes a cracking firelighter, I'll tell you that. So thank you, Murdoch, for heating my home, you bald piece of shit.
That's a glow in it.
I'll keep that one as a nice little tail piece. I need to make like an intro, like the Peter Crouch one, where they have all the highlights stitched together like a little beat under it or something. Just lazy, mate. That's my problem. So yesterday, as I said before, Saturday for those listening, Wrexham did manage to pull another 4-0 out of the bag, this time against Woking.
2 4-0s in a week.
2 4-0s in a week. 8 goals on the road as well. A lot of miles on the clock as well. Bloody Halifax on Tuesday. Not the nicest slog up going through Yorkshire down the M62 and Woking's London way, I think, as well. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I know you guys love statistics on your podcast.
Yeah,
but it is one for you. There's one for you. Saturday's game. Goldo Mateo. The first. I haven't double checked this fact though, so I'm going off Twitter.
Yeah.
The first Swiss player, and also the first former mixed martial arts fighter to score a goal for Wrexham Football Club.
Is that right?
Supposedly. I will.
What name as well? Can we appreciate the name when when we signed him, which was last week, 2 weeks ago? I saw that it was Goldo Mateo, and I was like, that's a name.
And there's going to be a Spandau Ballet chant kicking about the terraces when fans do get let back in, I assume.
Yes.
So I think Luke Young got the first one from the spot. You had him in. He was a member of your team, was he? Or?
He was. He was my super sub on our podcast. Yeah.
Just the because embodiment of calmness, I have to say.
Yeah.
Young.
Just because he can't score a normal goal. He can't score like just that was all right. It's got to be an absolute belter or a penalty. It's just
set pieces, absolutely fantastic. Wildies, pulls them out, 30-yard screamers. Going to get him running in on the shoulder, getting a tap in. Probably not. He'll probably be the one putting the ball in, to be fair.
Yeah. He's the player you want. He's the player that I don't know if we will, I hope we do hold on to. Jay Harris, I love and I got a lot of love for. I don't know if he's past it a little bit now. But Luke Young is one of the players. Him and maybe Hall Johnson, I'd like to see them hold on to.
Yeah, I've been quite impressed with Rhys Johnson. Going back to Jay Harris, I think it was quite funny because I listened to the commentary. I didn't actually watch the game.
I was doing a podcast and then we ran halfway into it and I thought, I'm not buying the stream for half of the game.
£10. You probably missed most of the goal. Oh, no, it was the other game. They were 4-0 up inside like 35 minutes.
Yeah, it was 1-0 at half time in this one, I think.
But no, I completely derailed myself there. Doesn't matter. Who's I on about then? God. Oh, yeah, Jay Harris just come back from a 2-game ban for 10 yellow cards. Literally comes on within 4 minutes, clatters into someone. They go off with an ankle injury, another yellow card. Just the sheer thuggery of a veteran ball-winning midfielder in the National League and sort of League 2 lower league levels. Can't beat it. You need someone like that in your team at that level, though, so that enforcer. And I think he probably a lot of work he does give space for Young to sort of more operate as that playmaker role. But yeah, Paul Johnson got the second yesterday. I think it was Jamie Record with the ball in. He's been really good going forward, Hall Johnson, I have to say.
He is.
Not sure how I feel about him defensively.
I was going to say he reminds me of not play style, but I just mean like you can bank on him attacking wise. You can't bank on him defensive wise. So it's like a conference version of like Trent Alexander-Arnold. Doesn't play the same sort of football. What I mean is the fact that that's what he's in the team for, is the attacking side of it. So yeah, it can leave you a bit thin at the back sometimes, but
I guess that trade-off playing three at the back at the minute as well. You can have the wing backs pushing a bit more forward, sort of operate it. But I don't think they're really playing with wingers at the moment either. So you're having Record and Hall Johnson putting most of your crosses in and that. But
Yeah,
stats for both of them this season, assist-wise, I think it's pretty decent. Record's been scoring a fair bit as well, to be fair.
yeah. I do like Record. The games I have been watching this season, he's lost the ball a lot. He has lost the ball a lot, and obviously as a fullback, when you're at the pitch, that's it's the last thing you want. So, but yeah, you got in that league, you've got to sort of take it all with a pinch of salt. If that happens in the Premier League, yeah, awful, it's horrendous, whatever. In that sort of league, it's like there's a bit of leeway to it. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting thing they said on the commentary, actually. Pretty much sums up what you said there. So at this level in the National League, they're playing for a decent, playing for good sides. Got to be half decent footballers, but so you'll have a good playmaker, good dribbler on the ball, good range of passing, can whip a free kick in. But defensive side of his game is not going to be as up to scratch if he's playing at 10, or he might not have good finishing. There always seems like there's maybe one aspect of these players' games why they're not playing sort of League One Championship. But it's far better players than anyone like me. I have to say, I couldn't cut it. I could barely cut it playing Sunday League, mate. You should have seen me playing 90 minutes last weekend.
What makes me laugh though is you almost see between the conference and League Two this big jump because it's non-league football to league football. Mm-hmm. The actual standard and actual talent isn't that different. If you put them all in one big league, it would be very similar talent-wise. It's just there's that barrier, isn't there? Of like this is league football and this isn't. The reason I say that is because when Salford went up, they went straight up again. I can't remember if Tranmere did the same or if Tranmere were up there. Newport were up near the top of League Two as soon as they went up, and it's just like so. And they all kept like a lot of their players, so there's not a massive difference in it. It makes me laugh, and which is why it's so painful that we went down. I don't know how many years now, and we still just can't quite creep back up. And we've seen like Tranmere drop in and go back up. We've seen Salford come from below us and go up and things like that. We've seen all this, and we're just still there. It's painful, but
yeah, I think with the circumstances with Wrexham compared to the likes of Salford, though, they've been bankrolled by four of the class. Is it four of the class of '92? Was it Smith? Not Alan Smith. What am I talking about? It was Beckham, Scholes, Gary Neville, and was it Nicky Butt or Phil Neville? Nicky Butt, yeah.
I think it's Nicky Butt.
So they've they sort of started the similar project that Wrexham are having now, but maybe 5-10 years earlier. And they have, every club in Manchester fucking hates Salford City. I know FC absolutely hate him. I cannot stand Salford City.
I'm not a big fan. Even though I'm a United fan, it's the 92 that own it. I'm not a fan. We beat them. Was it 5-1 in the season that they went up?
I think so. 4-1, 5-1, something like that.
Yeah, I was there at that game. I loved it. But unfortunately, didn't mean anything at the end of the season. They still went up, and we're still here.
No, yeah. No, not a fan of Salford. It's when you're playing someone on FIFA, Salford badge pops up and they've got kits and everything. It's like, really? No, you can tell it's some like 15-year-old kid who's like, oh mate, decide all the United lads own that I never watched play. Go away, stop it. There can't be that many Salford fans on FIFA, surely. Come on.
Nah, I think it's
Pot Club.
It's probably a popular badge because the badge is quite a modern badge, isn't it? It's not like the sort of older looking one. So I reckon it's probably the badge is what's selling it for them.
I don't think it has Salford written on the badge, so you can get away with like, oh yeah, that's my team badge. Not like me with the bloody Arsenal badge. Yeah, that's not 1404 FC real, mate. You could have got the Wales badge at least. Like.
I got one of those ones where it was like, do you remember when FIFA first came out this year? And it was, I think Dave did one, Lil Mosey did one. So it's not an actual football badge; it's a badge for this musical artist.
Oh,
so I did it that way. So then I was like, because I don't want to put a United badge on because there's so many people with a United badge on. I can't put a Wrexham badge. I can put Wales, I guess. But in my head, I was just like, I'll just go for this random. I think I've got Dave, the rapper Dave.
Oh yeah.
I've got his like electronic blue bear as my badge.
No, I've completely made the switch to Football Manager this year. Like, play FIFA once every 4 weeks, maybe. I'll put Ultimate Team on for 2 or 3 games. I'm like, what am I doing? I've got
I've done this
Wrexham
year.
in League Two, and I've got Arsenal in a Europa semi-final. Come on, need to get back on the saves.
I do the same thing every year in Ultimate Team. I start off and I'm like, right, and I'm level with everyone. And then you leave it for 2 weeks or a month where you don't play it. You come back and everyone's team has like jumped up so much, and then you can't win a game. And then I just get bored and it's the whole thing with EA as well, which I hate, is the paywall, where it's like you've got to pay to get packs, which means you're just paying for the best team. And I'm like, so it's not based on how good you are at the game. It's just EA. Yeah, that's what EA are, though, isn't it?
It's just a cash cow for them at the minute, isn't it? They never even really bother to try and upgrade any of the other FIFA features. It's, look at all these 20 new icons we've decided to pull out from 3 years ago that you definitely won't remember. And let's have a special Hector Bellerin for his goal line clearance against Swansea in like 2014. I did do that squad builder because I needed a pacey right back, but what the fuck, EA? Come on.
87 overall Hector Bellerin, but I had to do so many challenges for it, isn't it? It was hard.
Yeah, no, like you said, I literally this month left it for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. I can't remember what we were doing, or I was pissed off with it, or my charger broke. Got back to it, everyone had got all the new team of the weeks, and I think the icons had dropped like a week or two before as well. So
team of the season comes out this week, and that's when probably FIFA will be done for me this year.
No, I'm quite happy. It's quite easy sort of having a little spreadsheet based game on your computer. You're not even having to just set your team and go a few shouts every now and then.
Yeah.
Bring some regen from Macedonia on, that'll score a hat trick. And
I tell you what, as well, you can get lost. I haven't bought a Football Manager now for a few years, but I remember you can get lost in it. You could, on a Saturday morning, you could open up your laptop or computer or whatever you've got, start it, and before you know it, it's the evening, and you've done 2 seasons. You've changed your team completely. Like, you can get lost in it so easily.
You've just honestly described how I get through the hours leading up to a boxing or a fighting pay-per-view. Because it'll hit about
passes
10.
The time. Yeah,
literally, I'll put that on to like 2 or 3 when the main card starts. I'm like, oh shit, it's off. I've already missed one of the rounds. Like, plug on.
You need an alarm. You need an alarm for when the main card starts.
I need to start doing what other people do and like go to bed maybe at a decent time, or go to bed a bit early and then wake up at 2. But
that's what
I worked at Revs for years. I'm so used to bartending, and just because they'd just keep the place open till like 4:30, 5, and then we wouldn't finish cleaning down till 7. And then we'd be supping a pint at 7:20. So I'm just used to sort of going through and cracking on.
Yeah. I'm a big NFL fan. So the annoying thing about them is they're not quite late enough for you to go to sleep and wake up again. It's just literally you've got to stay up for it. Because with like UFC, boxing, or anything like that, they go on till the main card will be like, or the main fight will be like 5 a.m. With NFL, the latest you're going to get is 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's like, it's not late enough for you to go to sleep and wake up again. But
of course, because they always, I think it's like 7, start the games like 6 and 7, and then there's like 9 o'clock games, and then they do the later, but that'll be prime time in the US, won't it? The 1 o'clock game, I guess. So still, that's the amount of sacrifice us UK fans give for American sports, and they're so unappreciative of us. And this fight with Liam Williams and Andrade on Saturday, it's the first time I ever remember an American champion fighting a Welsh lad. American audience couldn't give a shit about Andrade because he's fucking a knob, right? I don't like the guy. And if he hadn't spent so much time fucking cuddling Liam Williams for the last 6 rounds, he'd have fucking finished him, I tell you that. So
did it go to points?
It did, yeah. He got a knockdown in the second round on Liam Williams, but I think he hurt him in the 3rd, hurt him again in the 9th, I think. So he didn't manage to score a knockdown, but anytime he clipped him, Andrade would just clinch up and the referee would separate. And the referee didn't warn him once about clinching, though. Not what he was. It was a constant occurrence. Why I brought it up, though, DAZN, for the first time I've ever remember seeing a promoter do this, thought, there's loads of fans in the UK that want to watch this. We don't really care about this. And also we're going to clash with Askren, Paul, and all the YouTube children are going to outdo us on the pay-per-views. So we can't have that. why don't we put this time forward so it starts at 11 in the UK? And then there was a knockout in the fight before, so walking to the ring's about 10:30. It was lovely. It was, I don't see why more
they
people
did do
can't do
more
that.
of that, but the
Bring
Askren
more
Paul thing
events to the UK.
was so. I bet they got so much fucking money for that.
I think he got either $1 million or
Ridiculous, isn't it?
$500,000. Ben Askren. I couldn't care less about Jake Paul. But Askren, I think he got paid more. Than
So
he did
you're a
in
boxing fan. I'm sort of casual at best. With Jake Paul, just quickly, do you think he's a good fighter, or do you think he's just choosing his opponents very carefully?
Oh yeah. Okay, so Ben Askren is an elite level wrestler. He's won the NCAA championship in college. He's wrestled at the Olympics.
Yeah.
And in the cage as well. He's been a champion in Bellator and one fight in championship. In my opinion, currently the second best welterweight in the world, Douglas Lima. He's beaten him, but he beat him with his wrestling.
Yeah.
Most of Ben's fights that he's won through his wrestling. By Jake Paul getting him into a boxing ring, you've negated that guy's one advantage that he had. Ben Askren has never been known for throwing hands. If anything, people have taken the piss out of him for his boxing ability more than anything. Like, I think he got outboxed by Damian Maia, who, again, world champion in jiu-jitsu, God knows how many times, 3rd-degree black belt, I think, as well, but known as a submission specialist, like Askren's known as a wrestler. So if you can't outbox Maia, but he got paid, I think, probably about twice as much as he did for his fight with Robbie Lawler, where...
Well, this is the thing. It's like, you feel like both of them, even though they were trying to like sell the fight and be like, oh, who's going to win? Both of them probably knew who was going to win. Jake Paul knew who was going to win. Ben Askren knew Jake Paul was going to win. And they both get big pay. Yeah.
So, I'm happy for Ben Askren to make his money. I've loved watching him fight in MMA. Loved watching him wrestle when I finally got into college wrestling, started watching his matches back. Such an elite talent on the mat.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him to get paid finally. And, he's had a good career. Anyone who was going into it saying, oh, look at Ben, he's fucking scared of Askren. What are you talking about? He is not scared of Jake Paul. He was not intimidated going into that ring or anything like that. He's been in there with Robbie Lawler. He's been in there with Masvidal. He's been there with Lima. So many literally trained killers. You think he's going to be scared of some bloody jumped up YouTuber who's been in the gym for 2 years? Like, my only thing with Jake Paul is they're saying he's 3-0 as a professional. Like, oh yeah, well, again, like Dylan Dennis, he was, I think, a purple belt or a brown belt in jiu-jitsu when he was winning the ADCC Combat Championships, which is one of the premier no-gi competitions in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And he was doing that as a lower rank belt than he should have been. I think he's only become a black belt in the last few years, or he might still not be. Again, not really known for his hands. He's probably a better striker than Askren. He's McGregor's main jiu-jitsu coach and training partner. So he's been at SBG Ireland. So he'll probably have a better idea throwing hands on him. I think he's more likely to beat him than Askren. But to me, you want to prove to all your little fans that you're a boxer. Why are you taking on? Yeah, fight a boxer.
Well,
he's never had an amateur pedigree. Fight one of the lads going for because the Olympics are this year. They're all amateurs. Fight a lad who's going or who didn't make the Olympic cut. Fight one of them.
Well, a lot of people are saying, what's his name? The guy who was on Love Island, Tyson Fury's brother, Tommy Fury.
Tommy Fury, yeah.
Just because Tommy Fury, again, from what I've seen, is fighting nobodies and people that aren't really giving him a challenge either. So just see these two go at it.
Yeah, Tommy Fury's a trained boxer. He's Tyson Fury's brother, his dad, and his uncle, both cracking coaches.
This is the thing. I don't know how good,
he's been in the circle for years.
Because I watched his last fight, and it was literally he fought someone who was like 0-10 or something like that. Like he'd lost all 10 professional fights, and you're like, well, that's not going to give him any sort of challenge. So why not just throw him in with this YouTuber and see who comes out on top?
Yeah, he's got a name. He's got the Fury name alongside him. So you get that market with the pay-per-views and that. They'll probably get Tyson coming along and call him a dosser or something as well, just to spice it up a bit. Like that'd be a better fight than this Dennis one. But I don't really like this YouTuber celebrity boxing stuff. It rubs me up the wrong way. And
Well, this is the thing. He keeps, from what I've seen, I don't know much about Jake Paul, but what I have seen is he keeps saying he wants this. He wants people to stop calling him a YouTube boxer and just a boxer. And you're right in the fact that if you want people to call you a real boxer, fight a boxer. Don't fight a basketball player. Don't fight a wrestler. Don't fight another YouTuber. Fight a boxer. But he knows what he's doing. I actually think I hate him, and I think most people hate him just because, from what I've seen, he's this obnoxious little prick and thinks he can beat Conor McGregor in a fight. Yeah, Conor McGregor's fallen off a little bit. Still Conor McGregor.
He'd absolutely rinse it. Like, I think the only thing he's got on McGregor is a bit of size. That's about it. I think he's about maybe 6'6'1", because Askren's about my height and he was quite short compared to him. But like, you're saying he wants to fight Conor McGregor, you're never going to fight him. You're a fucking cruiserweight, mate. So you're in between light heavyweight and heavyweight. At best, Conor can probably pod you up to middleweight, but he'll probably have a bit of a belly for putting that much weight on. He'll be quite slow. Just fight boxers. Like, yeah, it's irritating. But like you said, he's doing it to market himself as a fighter, and it's working because we're talking about
clever.
it now.
He's clever. Everyone's talking about it. He's getting paid for it. And the downside of it is that everyone hates him, but I don't think he cares. So if he's getting paid and he's getting his name out there and he's going to continue to do this, let him do it.
Yeah.
It's entertainment for someone out there. It's not for me, but it's entertainment for a lot of people out there. So let him keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I think the best way of it described a guy called Luke Thomas, who's an MMA pundit I like to listen to, calls it like stunt boxing. So he says Jake Paul's like, you're a stunt man on a, well, you're not actually an actor, you have a stunt man, does all the stunts for you. You're not actually sort of riding to a degree, there's an element of danger in it, but it's controlled danger. So he calls it like stunt boxing. I haven't described that very well, but do you sort of see the comparison between the two? Like, he knows what he's doing. He's picking and choosing his fights. It's entertainment, but there is an element of danger. He could have easily got knocked out in any of those fights. Well, he could have got knocked out. Maybe easily is a bit of a strong term, but he could have got knocked out in those fights. He could have slipped on his way to the ring and cracked his jaw or something. These things happen. The amount of fighters that have, I think Tony Ferguson tripped over a cable at media day, ruptured his ACL, so he missed his title fight against Khabib. So little things like that can happen. But that's the thing. If people are watching it, people are tuning in, they're making money. There's obviously a market for it, but you're not going to get me tuning in. But I don't think they'll give a shit about missing my money. So I'd stream it anyway.
They've got because they're also, and I remember reading up on do you know the original YouTube fight that was like KSI versus Logan Paul, was it?
I think
they were saying the one thing it is doing, because they had professional boxers on their card, didn't they? Like leading up to it. It was like the one thing it is doing is it's introducing a new audience to boxing, and you probably got 10, even if you got 10% of the new watchers who were just watching that fight who got into boxing, you've got more of an audience. So it was a really clever thing to do.
That's the other good point about it. It does, because it's going to be a new audiences. I wouldn't say, looking as an outsider, maybe boxing is that exciting for a kid to watch when you've got all this entertainment around you nowadays. Maybe unless you've got someone in your family that does it, that's interested, or
I think UFC
fans,
is taking over in the fact that I think younger people will be more interested in UFC because it's more exciting and more interesting and there's more going on to it. I like watching boxing. Yeah. Some of my favorite films are to watch are like boxing, like based films, just because I love it. I love all the pageantry around it and stuff like that. But
that's the thing. It's never going to go away, boxing. But I think for me, there's just like too many belts nowadays, so it's also oversaturated a bit. So you've got your four promotion counts. The licensing council was WBO, WBC, WBA, and IBF or IBO. So you've got 4 belts for each weight class there. You've got a Ring magazine belt on top of that as well. So that's 5 champions. then that world champion, intercontinental champion, like European, American champion. Then you've got like all the British belts, all the area belts of the club.
See,
When you
this
get
is what
to that
confuses
level,
me
it's just so.
when a boxer has like fucking 8 belts around them and like all their team are holding up all the different belts, and I'm just like, okay, and there's still another champion in their weight class, and you're like, okay, I don't get this, I don't understand it.
That's the thing. There's a lot of the times where they could say someone's got 3 of the 4 belts and someone's got 1, like Fury and Joshua have at the minute. They should always have a fight to unify that title, so one person has all the marbles. In effect, by having 4 champions in each like division, promotion, class. I can't remember what they call it. Organization, I think the term I'm looking for is. You're obviously going to have people ranked in that organization, so you're going to have mandatory matchups from each organization coming in. Like Liam Williams was Andrade's mandatory matchup last night. He wants to fight either Billy Joe Saunders or one of the Charlo brothers. I can't remember which one fights a super medal. Or he wanted the Canelo fight. But because WBO are like, no, we've ordered this mandatory matchup. So you've got 4 weeks to agree a fight and sign the deal, or we're going to strip you of your title. And it's going to be, a fight for a vacant belt. So, with the UFC, you have one division. It's easy because it's one promotion, but you have one champion in each division.
You have a champion in your division, and if you want to move, go up a weight class or down a weight class, you can do, but it's one champion. That's why probably they're sort of getting the fan base, the younger fan base. But
I think with that, there's a lot of the trash talking in boxing's gone quite stale, whereas there's a good chunk of fighters nowadays that sort of appeal to that sort of YouTube troll type. I think that's why Jake Paul gets a lot of that audience in, because he is just a YouTube troll to me. Yeah. McGregor was probably, if you ask me, Chael Sonnen is the king of trash talk. And he was a bit of a troll, but he's not one of these little internet pubescent virgin people. Strongest arms in the Midwest, that man. But he'd just get on the mic and he'd literally just talk people into submission before the fight had even happened. And sometimes it'd bite him in the arse and he'd get triangled.
Isn't it?
That's the thing. Well, he had a bit of a break in the Cowboy fight and he tried to be super respectful on that. But I think it's because of the opponent he was against, and Cowboy Cerrone is iconic in the UFC.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best fighters who'll never win a belt, unfortunately. But he sort of did that going in all polite and respectful, more like what I'd consider a martial artist to be. And then he gets like, I think it's 40 seconds or under a minute knockout. And it's like, oh God, okay, is this like Guru Connor now? Sort of like at peace and easy. And then it was the Poirier fight. He came in again the same way and it just didn't work for him. I think it was his game plan more than anything that let him down. But
do you think the third fight, which way do you think the third fight will go?
It's a very good question. Because one of the criticisms, did you see the second fight?
Yeah, I saw that.
Connor, very boxing heavy stance, heavy on his lead leg. It's why it was getting kicked to smithereens. The training videos I've seen of him recently, he's gone back to that Lyoto Machida sort of karate, leaning on your back foot stance, opening up to throw his kicks and that. So.
Even me as a casual fan noticed that his footwork had changed. He was a lot heavier on his feet.
Yeah.
Because when you look at him in so many other fights, I remember even however short the Aldo fight was, you could see he was on his toes, he was all this, but he was so much more flat-footed in this last one.
Even in some of the other lightweight fights, because he has moved up 10 pounds, he's got a bit more weight on him. But like Eddie Alvarez, first fight at 155, comes in bouncing about light on his feet. But for his game he's all power in his left hand, all accuracy in his striking. I love his kicking game. I think sort of his lead side kick, his spinning back kick, his round kicks to the body, kicks to the head as well. You can use that as a good rangefinder, because for most people, I've got tiny, short little arms, but quite long legs. So to sort of push a side kick out, it's good as sort of a method to keep a bit of distance to your opponent, but it's good to sort of measure your range. And then when you land, come in with a 1-2 or something.
Yeah.
He wasn't he was trying to just walk Poirier down, I felt. He was very heavy on his lead leg, but I think with all the he was meant to be fighting Pacquiao a few months before this whole Poirier fight was announced. So
oh, really?
I think in his head, or he was chasing a fight with Pacquiao, I should say. So I think in his head, he just was boxing and boxing and boxing as much as he could and just forgot that there's other elements to MMA. Not saying that Conor McGregor is going to go into a fight unprepared completely because, you know, if you think that man's unprepared going into the cage, you've obviously never watched the sport before.
Yeah.
But I just felt
The
like
only
he
thing
wasn't
people were saying
as,
is because he's become a bit more of a celebrity now rather than a fighter, is he's not as focused solely on one thing,
yeah.
which I can see, but I can't. You wouldn't. I don't think you'd take a fight if you weren't fully going to be invested in that fight, because you're already going to lose in that sense.
Yeah, I think one of the arguments I saw is quite similar to that. When he was on his rise and he was knocking people out in a minute or a round, he was hungry. He didn't have all this money. You know, he was fighting for survival almost. He's a lad who's come from almost nothing. He didn't start off with a lot in life. He's worked damn hard to get where he is. He's become a 2-weight world champion in Cage Warriors. He's gone over to America, absolutely set the UFC on fire, set the record for the fastest knockout in a title fight, which I'd be surprised if that ever gets beat, to be honest with you. Become the global superstar. You know, he's probably one of the first mixed martial artists to make it onto the Forbes list as well. Like, I think maybe that might have something to do with it, because you have seen that with you look at Ronda Rousey. I think the problem with her,
fell off massively.
She had a few too many yes men in her ear, though. She was defending the UFC belt, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, but we've got a film. Marvel want you to do X, Y, and Z superhero film, and they're going to pay $3 million, and you know you'll get 10% off every ticket sale, and that. Do you want to do that? You take 9 months off MMA. Oh, WWE want you. Do you want to?" And then she got knocked out. Came
So
back.
Holly Holm.
Yeah, Holly Holm absolutely sent it to a shadow realm with the roundhouse kick. Very underrated champion, if you ask me. Holly Holm, cracking kickboxer.
I remember seeing Ronda Rousey in that Entourage film, and that was a point where I was like, "You've become a celebrity. Like you've fully become a celebrity here." And now I think she just streams all the time now, like plays video games.
She was in WWE
streams.
for a while, but I don't really follow that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I'd ask Amy every now and again, like, how's Ronda doing? And she'd be like, yeah, just taking the belt off actual wrestlers.
Well, I don't watch wrestling anymore. I used to, as most people my age, I think, watch it when we were younger, and watch probably when it was WWF and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin and things like that, going on to stuff like that. It's a different thing, because I remember when Brock Lesnar was originally in WWE, went to UFC, did well, came back to WWE, and they just kept giving him opportunities because he was Brock Lesnar, this big name in UFC now.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they did the same with Ronda Rousey. And it's wrestling isn't a sport, it's theatre. As much as people don't want to hear that, yeah, I'm not saying that they don't get hurt or they don't put their bodies on the line, because they absolutely do. It's theatre, though. It's for the fans. It's fan service. It's entertainment. They even call it entertainment now.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I don't think they even hide it anymore. So yeah, they get hurt. But what I mean is, you need that storytelling. You need that acting, if you put it that way. And I can't see Ronda Rousey being able to do shit like that.
No, apparently she's not very good on the mic. But so you hear on the mic after a UFC fight or during a press conference, you know, that's part of being a wrestler. You sort of selling what you're doing to the audience. You're trying to create a storyline. But yeah, like you said, there's been a few crossovers with wrestlers coming into MMA, and I'd say Brock Lesnar's probably the only one that's been successful. Like poor CM Punk.
CM Punk
getting thrown to Mickey Gall in his first fight. What a horrible fucking matchup that was. Sean Shelby, Dana White, and Hunter. Can't remember Hunter's surname. The three of you should be fucking ashamed of yourself doing that to CM Punk. That was horrible. Honestly, mate, Mickey Gall was an absolute killer when he came into the UFC. He was like 22, 23. He was super young.
Do you think, I don't know his actual real name, but do you think CM Punk could have sort of made it in the UFC if he'd have started off a bit lower then? Or have you not seen enough of him?
No, maybe if he'd have started 10 years earlier with the striking elements of it, because I think in college he was a pretty decent wrestler, and wrestlers do well in MMA because to a point you can avoid someone on your feet and not get knocked out. But if you can take them down and they can't stop you taking them down, in theory, you can just lie on top of them for 5 minutes, grind out a very boring decision over 3 rounds.
So you're not going to be the most exciting fighter, but
yeah. But I don't know how Brock did it, but I think he spent a lot. I think he spent a few years actually just training the striking elements because again, he wrestled in college. He was a linebacker or a defensive tackle for the Vikings.
For the Vikings, I think it was, wasn't it? I've seen a picture of him in purple, so I'm assuming it's Vikings.
I've seen a picture of it. I've seen one video of him playing, and he puts a massive hit in on someone. So he's just a gifted. He's just a genetically built athlete.
I don't think he ever made like the full team for the actual season. I think it was like a preseason thing. They gave him a trial. He played a couple of preseason games and then got cut. I think I'm not 100% on that,
but still, like some of the competition he came up against, was it Frank? It was either Frank Mir or Rich Franklin in his first fight. I think he knocked him out. He got outdone by Cain Velasquez, but at that time, I could make an argument without injuries, Cain Velasquez is probably the greatest heavyweight of all time in the UFC. But he just hit Cardio Kane at a point where he was in his peak and just got completely outdone. For anyone who doesn't like Brock Lesnar, go watch Lesnar versus Velasquez. That'll brighten your day up. But then sort of the second or the third comeback of Brock Lesnar, I can't remember what it was. He was just like pissing hot for steroids every time. And then Mark Hunt, actually, the Super Samoan, tried to sue him for knocking him out while he was on steroids. I don't think that ever got past going to court, though. But he wasn't happy.
That makes sense.
It
makes sense. If you got knocked out and you were like, that's damaged me in some way for the future, and then find out that guy's on steroids, I'd be fuming.
I think he was trying to sue him for all of it, the purse that they get for fighting, because he lost some of it for failing his USADA test, or he got fined. But, to a point, I think you should compensate the other fighter. Okay, we'll take 80% of your purse and give it to him, and the other 20% that comes to us, that's your fine. But no room for steroids in mixed martial arts or any athletic competition, if you ask me. Do a steroid Olympics, by all means. That seems like it'd be a right laugh.
Yeah.
Do like they do bodybuilding.
Someone jumping like stupidly far in the long jump, wasn't it?
Flipping 100 meters, someone with like the legs of a cheetah doing 4 seconds flat or something, disappearing in a puff of smoke at the end. No medal ceremony today, guys. Sorry. But no, I think they do it in bodybuilding. They have like clean competitions and assisted competitions, if you call it that. So maybe if they're not gonna, but Pride, I think it was Pride MMA, like the thing that the UFC really inspired the UFC to get going. They were supposedly bankrolled by the Yakuza to a point because they're a Japanese promotion.
Oh, really?
So there was some dodgy contract dealings going on there. And I believe it's Pride used to have on their contract when they'd sign fighters into the testing pool, big, bold letters, capital, "We do not test for steroids in this promotion."
Oh my God.
That's why you'll see 18-year-old Alistair Uberim looking like, is it Michelangelo's David? Hand speed, can't even see his hands moving in the camera, and he's a bloody light heavyweight just knocking fools out. It's honestly terrifying what went on before mixed martial arts was being regulated. But we can look back and laugh now, can't we?
That's crazy.
That's it. I won't keep you for too much longer, mate. I just want to ask you one final Wrexham question, if you don't mind. Yeah. So Dean Keats is in at the minute. He was reappointed in 2019, I think, because he left to manage Walsall for a bit. It's his hometown club, in fairness, so I can sort of see it, but it was a bit like, okay, why are you coming back then, in my opinion? But you're occupying 7th at the minute. Oh no, sorry, we're occupying 5th at the minute, aren't we? It's
there's
Chesterfield who was 7th that you're playing next week.
There's a few teams behind us with games in hand, I think, so we could be 7th.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Chesterfield next Saturday. They've got 2 games in hand, and I think they're a point or 2 behind, so that should be a crucial one. Going back to Keatsy anyway, how do you think he's done with this season generally? Do you like him as a manager? The usual spiel.
I don't dislike him. I know a lot of Wrexham fans dislike him and want him gone, and I can see why. Because he, firstly, there was the whole thing when he went to Walsall. He didn't just go to Walsall. It was like, I can't remember what point in the season, but he was doing well and he went to Walsall And then it was like, okay. And like you say, it's his hometown, his family's there. You got to take it with a pinch of salt and just be like, yeah, makes a bit of sense. I was less angry about that one than I was about the Sam Ricketts one. Put it that way. I was fucking fuming about that.
Did he go to Shrewsbury as well?
Yeah, fuck Shrewsbury.
Fucking hell.
They can burn in hell.
Sal off you.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's for your career. I get that. Get the promotion with Wrexham first. Because we were doing so well that year. And then he left and we just went into nothing.
That's going to look so much better on your CV as well. Yeah. If you're trying to anchor a move to your hometown, it's like, oh, well, he's just brought Wrexham into League Two, so we'll definitely nab him then. So
when he came back, I had no hard feelings against Dean Keats. I was sort of like, yeah, okay, whatever. The only thing I will say is he's not a League Two manager. He's not a Football League manager.
Yeah.
So if he does manage to get us here this year, there's a lot of people that want him gone now and want someone in now. I think let him finish the season. If he goes up, they might keep him on, but they still might not because teams have been known to do that in the National League. I think if we don't get promotion, he can go because I think he's still early in his managerial career. He's still learning, and I understand you're going to get a lot of people like that at this level. But if we realistically want to go up into the Football League, you need someone who knows about all the players in that league and all the.
Yeah.
And he's made some good signings. Don't get me wrong. I was going to say Elliot Durrell, but he's gone again.
He's just left in a bit of a. There's a bit of a thing with that. He was left out a couple of weeks ago. He tweeted
about it and very unprofessional. And also there was, I think he's such a talented player. But if he's got that sort of attitude of like him before the team, then yeah, you can go, mate.
Especially at this level, you don't need that ego. And I think if he was a younger player, maybe you could feel like, okay, he's a bit naive, blah, blah, blah. He's 30, 31. Like, come on, mate. You've been a pro for years. Well, you've been a footballer for years. You should know you can't get away with doing stuff like this nowadays.
So I actually think Dean Keats probably dealt with that quite well. Just because someone's getting angry about not getting on the field, don't put them on the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm indifferent about Dean Keats. I think we probably need a different manager if we want to get any further than we are now. And I'll always love him for his playing career at Wrexham. He was a hell of a player when he was here. So I think it was a bit of fan service at first to get Dean Keats in as manager, but I don't think he's going to take as many places. Yeah. I wish the best for his career, like, don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Seems like with the results stabilising a bit. Well, I think it was it 3 losses and on the bounce and then 2 wins? Oh no, I'm getting Swansea's record confused, but it's been a bit. When they've played well, they've played really well, and you can see the system works. But sometimes when I've watched it, usually I think I said to you when I was sending you the Zoom link of that over, like whenever I listen to Wrexham on the radio on MixLR, thank you to the guys for your amazing commentary on there. It's a right old laugh. Whenever I listen to them on the radio, they play brilliantly. They'll score 3, they'll score 4. Whenever I pay for the stream or watch it on the telly, they'll just sit 11 behind the ball, really passive. Dior Angus will be up there on his own, looking around like, you're going to play into me today or not? And so I think sometimes he sets a team up, it works really well. And sometimes he sets up, the other team can negate it, and then he can't switch to a plan B mid-game. He just doesn't have that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like I say, best of luck to him if he does go somewhere else. But I don't think we're the right fit for him personally. Yeah. And the thing is, he's probably got a bit of a he's probably got the soft spot for Wrexham because of how many years he played for us and how well he played for us. I think he was in the team that won the FA Trophy in Wembley. But yeah, I think we need a different manager personally, and. Definitely. With bringing new people in and new staff in, I think they'll sort of give the nudge to Rob and Ryan. If Rob and Ryan have got any say at all, they might just be delegating it to, which they should do, because even they've said themselves they're not that clued up on football. So, it should be delegated to whoever needs to do it, and they should get someone in who's got a better football in mind, in my opinion. I don't want to be too mean about him because he's just got 2 4-0 wins on the bounce in 1 week. So it's like, I don't want to be too mean about him because we're doing well. A lot of that's to do with confidence, though. I think like Jordan Davis finally showing up. I say finally showing up. He's played well all season, but to get a hat trick in half an hour in the game before last, and then a goal in this last game. Lovely to see a local lad do well, and hopefully he stays.
I was going to ask you about that as well. How realistically, how long do you think you can hold on to Jordan Davis for? Because the way he's playing at me is exactly why a team like Brighton would have him on the books.
End of the season, maybe.
Sheer quality. I mean, it's one of those things. Depending on how you do this year, I think it is really like.
It's one of those things where it's like it's bittersweet in the fact that it's so good to see a young. I think he's 21, 22 years old. A young Welsh lad, and not just Welsh lad, a local North Welsh lad, doing so well for us. So it's like, I'd love to see him stay at Wrexham and have that love for Wrexham and stay there and bring us through the leagues. I'd also love to see him go off and say, for instance, if Brighton or whatever other team wanted him and do well at a team that are so much further up the leagues. So it's like, I'd hate to see him go, but I'd love to see that he's progressing his career, and I'd follow his career.
Yeah, a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you want him to do well, like you were saying, but oh, sorry. Little fact I found about Dean Keats that I completely forgot to shoehorn in.
Go on.
And I don't know if you guys know this, but he had a brief spell at Real Football Club. Rest in peace, you beautiful old team. I think because he was finishing, I'm not exactly sure what he studied, but he did a sports degree at Glyndŵr. And then I think he needed some coaching experience to finish, or it was like one of the modules you probably had to gather experience. So was on the books for about 6 months there trying to extend his playing career, apparently. And I think he did like a part coach and part playing role. Don't know how many appearances he made for Real. Couldn't find anything on that. But
nice.
Dean Keats, Real FC icon.
I never knew that.
These podcasts always come back to Real, don't they? You guys say it all the time, and
always comes back to Real.
Oh, that's why we love it. That's why we love it.
Also, did you see? I was going to say another thing on Wrexham. Did you see we got £100,000 grant from the Welsh government?
Oh, one of the COVID bailout loans. That's
it was
the National League had redacted the payment to Wrexham because they've been taken over, hadn't they? So,
I don't know if it's because we've been taken over or because we're in Wales. I'm not 100% certain on which one it is. But yeah, it was something like the Spectator Sport Survival Fund. We got £100,000 for that, so that was decent.
Nice little top the funds back up a bit. Hopefully, get the, because that's, especially now they'll be wanting to look at putting the infrastructure in for welcoming fans back. Hopefully next year, you'd like to think start of next season there'd be at least a reduced capacity in the ground. But the one final thing I was going to ask you, should the FAW stop being absolute gimps and finally bring a friendly back up to North Wales? Because fucking race course there, mate, and like, why not against a minor nation or something, or bloody Costa Rica coming over to play us?
Some of my best memories, even though I'm a Wrexham fan, and obviously I've had so many good memories in the race course. Some of my best memories are having that Welsh national team there and seeing Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey. We saw, I think Drew mentioned it on one of our podcasts. We saw, was it Chris Gunter who just got his 100th cap? Yeah. We saw his first one, and that was at the racecourse. Oh, wow. It's little things like that, and it's like, I can't remember who it was against. Drew will be able to tell you that, but we saw that, and it's just like, and especially if we develop the stadium so you can sit in the Kop, you can do this and fill it with North Welsh fans for, like you say, if you get a home game against a minor team, bring it up to the racecourse. If we develop the stadium, I don't know, but I'd hope to see them do it. It'd be like if England wanted to play in Old Trafford or something.
I think they did. They did a couple of games. Was it before the World Cup? Because I didn't take the shift because I couldn't be arsed working an England game, quite honestly. But they did. I think it was Costa Rica at Ellen Road. not getting anywhere near that. Used to hate working during the World Cup because I'd always start my shift just as the England games were finishing. And then they'd beaten Sweden or they'd beaten someone in a shit penalty shoot. Oh, Colombia it was.
Colombia.
It was after the bloody Colombia game. I was walking through it trying to get to the stairs up to the staff room. Just walking, minding my own business, headphones on. The England fans are going like, yeah, we're in the whatever final. Like, I don't care. Like, oh, you should care, mate. England are playing. Fucking Welsh, mate. Leave me alone. I couldn't give a shit. Like.
I was in a Wetherspoons in London on that exact game, the England-Colombia one. It went to penalties. And I was sitting on my hands so much because Drew's the one that really, really can't support England. I don't support them. I'd never support them. I don't know why. I just can't do it. I think it's because a lot of the fans are so gammon.
Yeah, that's the...
And like, yeah. So it's just like I was sat on my hands in this Wetherspoons in London, in North London. I was just like, come on, Colombia, come on, Colombia. And also, I like the Colombia team that season as well. It's one of the I think we might have mentioned it on your podcast as well. Actually, one of the greatest things about being Welsh, and when they don't go to a major tournament, hopefully that's changing because we seem to be there and thereabouts. You get to choose. And the thing that angers me, this is another thing that really frustrates me about English supporters. And it was when I was in that pub in London, I was with this lad, and he was English, and he was really supporting England. He was really getting angry about the game. And he went, "Why aren't you supporting us? Why aren't you supporting us?" And I went, "Because I'm Welsh." He went, "Yeah, but you're basically English." I was like, "That's why I hate it. Yeah. I'm not basically English. I'm Welsh." It's like me going, "You're basically French." No, you're not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
I'm not English.
When they got
knocked
out of Euro 2016, all the BBC Wales, all the people like, oh yeah, are we all Welsh now? We're all going to support Wales. And I was like, okay, well, you know, we're not fucking asked whether you do or you don't. It's up to you.
Yeah, you can support us if you want. And there's a lot of Welsh people that will support England in major tournaments. Yeah. But the reason I don't is because, and that was like the epitome of it in that London pub, where he was just like, "You're basically English," and I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not English in any sense." And to be fair to him, he even apologized to me afterwards because he was like, "That was unreasonable of me. I was just getting caught up in it." I was like, "Yeah, it's what football does, isn't it?" But it's just this whole thing of like, you should be supporting us because you're British. It's like, yeah, but that's not the case. So I like being able to sort of, and I love supporting underdogs as well. Which is why I think a lot of people were supporting Wales in the Euros, because we were the underdogs. Yeah. So it's nice to just... I liked the Colombia team that year. I can't remember who else I'd like the Croatia team that year as well. And it just so happened that they kept coming up against England. So it was just like...
I have a cracking memory of that game, actually, because we'd gone over to a festival in Bilbao, BBK. Great lineup.
I almost went to that.
Oh, did you? It was the year they had the XX, Chemical Brothers.
Was Childish Gambino there as well?
Gorillas, yeah. He was the first guy we saw, actually, because everyone else that wasn't camping for the full weekend came on the Thursday, and you had to get a bus from just by Stadion San Mamés, the Bilbao ground, and get up to it. The queue, I think we must have queued about 2 hours for the bus.
Yeah.
And then you had to get another, it only took you halfway up, and you had to get another one up the rest of the mountain to the campsite. We'd just gone to get a bigger tent because the one our Spanish mates bought for us. They thought it was a 3-man tent, but it was a 1-man tent. Me and my ex in 2 suitcases squeezed into there. It wasn't a comfy night, but we missed like loads of bucks. I was like, fuck this, I'm not queuing for this. Right, grab the stuff, walking up. Not a great idea in like 38 degrees, but the night before the festival started, Jamie XX was doing a DJ set at, do you know the Guggenheim Museum? It's like the big, cute little fancy art museum in Bilbao. Yeah. It's got a big flower dog outside, and it's quite nice just down by the riverbank. But they set like the back courtyard of that up into a little festival space, and we missed a few of the opening acts because our mate Johnny from Norwich wanted to go and watch the bloody first half of the England game. So we go in there, England are 1-0 up, got me Wales bucket hat on, Sam's got his Wales top on, we're thinking, have a bit of a dance. There's loads of English lads there. I'm sure one of them will have a phone screen so we can gradually look at the game. A few other substances and a bit of drink as well, so we're not really paying attention to what's going on. And I just remember like laughing on the bus the whole way home, just like looking at the score and be like, Sam, do you know what's coming home? In England, they're coming home. So I have no idea how we didn't get like battered or jumped when we came off. But some of the looks we were getting off some of the English people on that bus, like, my God.
I was in for that particular game. I was doing a matinee performance or something like that in a festival I was doing, and one of the lads backstage was like constantly looking at his phone, and he was like, and he was watching it, so I was like, "Oh, I'll watch it with you," and because it was outdoor theatre as well, so we couldn't listen to the sound because the audience were literally on the other side of this like wall that we were on this side of. I remember watching that free kick go in, and he was like as quiet as he could. He was just that horrible, like, you want to scream but you can't.
Yeah.
And at that point, I wasn't, like I say, I have no animosity to England. I just would like to see other teams beat them. And then I was on stage, and I was on this certain stint on stage I was on for a while, came off again, and it was 2-1, and I was just like. And I saw this guy, the same guy who was like doing that. He was sat on this bench. He had his head in his hands. He was about to go on stage, and I was just like, "That's the worst moment for you." I was like, "You should have just waited. You shouldn't have like followed it. I feel like you should have just turned your phone off, waited, done the show, get off, and then find out."
That's just gonna cloud your head before you go on. You know, I wouldn't remember one single line if Wales had been 1-0 against Belgium, refresh it like 2-1. Oh,
yeah.
Sort of walking out, like no expression on your face, sort of poking you, like, pick up your mark.
In all fairness to him, he was a fantastic actor, and he pulled it off. But you can tell it hurt, and it would have hurt. It would have hurt.
Yeah,
Portugal semi-final for us, fucking hurt, man.
Hurt in two ways for me, because someone at Will Events Arena threw a full kind of beer in my eye, and I didn't get a cheeky scar for it though, unfortunately. But yeah,
it's what you want, isn't it? It's what you want if you have something like that.
Yeah, I also I'm a smoker, so I can handle a bit of bloody smoke, and that nearly bloody choked to death with one of those match flares that someone let off in the arena. Yeah. Like, it's like bloody anthrax or no, that's powder, isn't it? It's not gas. But great memories though. Great
I remember again. I think it was in another Wetherspoons. Watched England's first game in that 2018 World Cup. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2018 World Cup.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what their first game was, but they won it anyway. And when one of the goals went in, it was one of these moments where everyone's pints went fucking everywhere, and it went all over you. And this guy had a pint glass, and instead of throwing it up, he just fucking launched it in front of him, and it hit the screen, and then the screen just smashed. It just not smashed in the sense of like, you know, like all the shards came off. It was like, you know, when something hits the screen and then it does like that thing where all the colours are fucking everywhere and you can't see anything. Yeah. And my mate recorded it, and you can see, because he was an England fan, he was recording it, and you see this glass like fly and hit the screen, and all you hear is me go, "That's fucking hilarious." And it's just this video. If I could ever get it and like send it to you, it's so funny though, because it just flies, it hits the screen. I was like, "It's fucking hilarious. He's just broken the screen." And the funniest thing about all of that is because this pub was absolutely rammed and everyone was like this, you couldn't turn and look at another screen. So everyone just stayed looking at this screen that was fucking destroyed and was just listening to the commentary to just double check that, you know, England did actually win. It was like the last minute, but I was like, that's so funny.
Brilliant. That's oh man, that's why we love international football though, and
it brings a lot of people
together. I think Italy have said they can have 25% of fans in the ground for all the. It's Rome. I was going to say Milan, then it's Rome, isn't it? This summer where they're hosting some of the group games and some of the other games. But like, I think I'm just looking forward to being in a beer garden.
I think England are having some fans in their stadium.
Oh yeah.
Which,
of course,
what I don't understand,
a host stadium, isn't it?
Yeah. What I don't understand though is 21st of June was supposed to be out. Yeah. Everything's supposed to be back to normal. So surely you can have a full stadium, but apparently that's not happening.
In theory, you'd think, wouldn't you? But
if someone, I guess,
no idea what the justifications are.
I think it's you're allowed in a stadium if you've. I don't know if they're doing these COVID passport things, but if you say that you've had your vaccine.
Yeah.
it.
I'd heard about that. I think they might have backtracked on that now, but they were saying, because I think they wanted to introduce them for travel as well. And
Yeah.
truthfully, mate, anytime the news mentions COVID these days, I usually just switch off mentally or change the channel.
You can't look at the news that much anymore. But
no,
so hopefully we are out by the 21st and we can all start going back to football games. I miss crowds in stadiums.
Oh, same, mate. It's one of the going to the footy, going to a gig, the two things I think I've missed the most about the last year, just sort of the energy of the crowd and just the atmosphere of a stadium or the atmosphere
just
of a
watching it
venue
on
and
TV
smells
as well.
and sights. Like,
Like
it's all right. It's like going on a caravan holiday to sort of the south of England where it's not, or, going to a caravan in Cornwall or going to the Bahamas. It's nice. You can get a good time out of it, but you want to go to the Caribbean, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's watching it on TV as well, like watching the City and Chelsea semi-final yesterday in Wembley when it's empty. It's just odd. And it's just like, I can't wait for there to be, I can't remember how many Wembley holds. Is it 80,000, 90,000? But saying like I can't wait for like 40,000 City fans, 40,000 Chelsea fans in this. Well, I say 40,000 City fans, they'll struggle to get that many in. But it's, I miss just watching that on TV and just seeing the fans having a like, it's not the same. I try as well and watch the games at the moment without the crowd noise dubbed over. So it's like, this is the only time I'm going to be able to hear what the players are actually fucking saying. And it's quite interesting.
I've always wondered that myself. Like, what do they actually? They just scream "fuck off" at each other constantly.
Yeah, it's aggression. It is aggression, and I think that's why they try and put the crowd noise over. They say, "Oh, it's so that you can get the atmosphere." No, it's to hide the swearing.
It's so half of the commentary isn't. Yeah, sorry if you heard any fruitful language there. They are angry professional football. I think I've probably heard more swearing on the football pitch than you do in a rugby game, and the refs have been mic'd up since the TMO has been a thing as well. And
I would love for football to bring that in.
I think it'd be great.
Have the refs, because they're already mic'd up. If we could just hear
it gives accountability to the referees. It's like, like in the NFL where the chief referee say there's a flag thrown and they give a penalty. They're holding offense, 5-yard penalty first. Exactly. It justifies the penalty, and then there's the accountability. This is what I've given the foul for. This is the incident I saw. This is why I think it's wrong, and I'm giving a thingy that way.
Yeah.
And then after that, VAR could be like, oh no, we'll check it now. Actually, hold the game for a minute or two. Oh yeah, no, he did kick him. Whatever. So I don't know. I just think they're looking for VAR to be too much of a one. Like a sort of one size fits all. Okay, we can use this to solve every questionable decision ever. No, you need to use it for those sort of dubious, well, did he touch it? Did he not? Things, not like, is he half of a bootlace offside here? Because let's get the fucking lines out. Let's get the protractor out. Let's bloody, get all the equations out so we can calculate the angle and why.
The thing I want them to bring in is what they do in cricket, tennis, NFL. I don't know if they do it in NBA or anything like that. It's just challenges. You can use VAR if the manager challenges it. And if you get it right, you get your challenge back. If you get it wrong, you lose it. So there's like a bit of a
reward and risk for so you can't challenge everything.
So if you go, I think that was offside, you would challenge it, the VAR would check it. If you were right, you'd get your challenge back. If you were wrong, you'd lose it and you can't use it again. And that's the way they should do it, because that's the only way. Because I don't think VAR should be fully taken out of football, because I think it does help sometimes.
Yeah.
But it is ruining the game when they use it. Like, what was the one Tottenham v United that everyone's up in arms about? Son going down because he got brushed on his face.
Barely. Oh no, it was a hand. He was sort of palming off it. McTominay it wasn't he? He wasn't even looking at him. Sort of say, I think it was in Son tugging his shirt as well. So he's trying to sort of just create. And he just sort of
put his arm out like this and sort of like, he didn't knock his face, but it's like the way that Son goes down, it's like, nah.
That's the thing with me, like, I think it's because I watch a lot of boxing, a lot of MMA, but you see people getting punched in the face and being fine. I know they're professional fighters, but you see a footballer catch a tiny little bit of an elbow on their ear and they're going down, holding the front of their face like the bloody coming up like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like, well, you can't really perpetuate this thing forward that it's a tough game and it's a contact sport if every 2 minutes you're rolling around like you've been shot. And you can blame the European and South American players for it, but a lot of the UK players are just as complicit now, if you ask me. And
Exactly, yeah.
it's why I'm probably not as feel as much of an affinity to the top level of the game. That's why I enjoy watching smaller teams nowadays, because I just feel like the whole money in football nowadays, it's taking the enjoyment away from it for me.
Well, it was one thing that that JJ on our last podcast was talking about, in the fact that he was talking about JJ Okocha and the fact that he would ride tackles and not go down and like dive. And then he said it's diving, or if you're listening to the Premier League, it's being smart. And the fact that that is now a thing is awful.
It's like
absolutely awful.
The thing that
being
Harry
smart,
Kane does,
if you get a touch and you go down, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's cheating the referee, really, isn't it? You're not being smart. It reminds me of them all praising Harry Kane for that thing he does where he'll back into the centre half and then sort of bend over a little bit so they'll go flying over the top of him. That's super dangerous. But they're like, oh no, it's smart.
You could end someone's career with that.
Yeah, if they land on the neck, land on the back, you could even, if they land funny on an arm or leg, they're out for a few months with a broken limb. But he gets protected because he's the England captain, if you want my honest opinion of it.
Yeah. But you're probably right there.
Oh, anyway, Thank you so much for joining me today, mate. Really appreciate it.
I feel bad because we've gone into the Arsenal game here.
Mate, it's fine. We're only playing Fulham. We're probably a goal or two down and my Aka's already gone. So
no, it's 0-0. Don't worry. I've got them on an accumulator as well.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I got out of a habit of putting my teams in Aka's, and then I just don't care anymore because I'm like, well, I can't be jinxing Arsenal because we're just that shit. There's nothing I could possibly do that could make us worse, unless maybe I hit Partey in his kneecap again, so he's out for longer. But I don't know. Where can we find Nostalgia FC before I let you go?
Yeah, so Nostalgia FC, we are on all podcasting platforms, so like Spotify, iTunes, Pocket Cast, any you can think of, we're on it. You can find us on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter under the handle Nostalgia FC Pod, and we do have an email which is nostalgiafcpod@gmail.com. So please give us a listen. If you like football and you like very obscure choices in people's teams, and if you just want to be a guest, if anyone's listening to this and actually does want to be a guest, please get in contact with us. But yeah, cheers for letting me plug that.
No, sorry, mate. I had a lot of fun being on, and if I need to do a post or something where I outline my team that I selected, if you can think you can put a team together that'll be the amazing side I churned out, then fucking bring it on.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got Ricardo Gardner and Jose Aldo as wing backs. I've got Rory Patterson and Thierry Henry up top. Bentner's going to come off the bench and score in half a second, so you fuck, mate. Sorry.
Well, we are possibly thinking of an idea to put all teams into a league on like Football Manager or Pro Evo or FIFA, however we can find out how to do it. When we get 20 teams, which I think might be after this next one, we're going to try and put them into a league and see who wins, which will be interesting.
Do a simulated type league and see how it plays out.
Yeah, we've got someone helping us to try and figure out how to do it, but that should be fun.
I'm thinking this could go one way or two. Like it could play out quite well. You get a good answer on it, or like 7-foot Luigi could just be the player that the regen that Football Manager's been waiting for.
Yeah, this is the one thing where like the ones where it's like that you picked yourself and your team and you picked.
You'd have to change me out for.
So you'd have to like
Lee Catamol or someone.
I don't know. So there's little things like that need to go into it. But there's one team. If anyone fancies listening to it, there's one team where there's like Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldinho. I can't remember who else. Pirlo.
Do you have R9 Ronaldo in there as well?
Yeah, I think so. And it was like it was just a team of absolute superstars, which is fantastic. But it's not always like say for instance in my team, I picked me and my granddad playing in it. Imi picked Waluigi and hers. We've had a football fan that made someone laugh at one point. Like, so having that team come up against like a fat football fan that was just really aggressive once, it's a no-brainer who's going to win that. So It's just funny. That's why I love it. Like we've had a referee at centre back as well.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that's it. I quite like the
And if
justification behind that because he'll be able to put a word in his
yeah,
mate's ear.
yeah. Also, like if before I go and to plug it a little bit more, one of the best choices we ever had was Yaya Sanogo for 2 minutes in his career because he looked like he was going to be a star, and then it never came out. But when you pick him in our team, he plays as well as he did for those 2 minutes. That's the gist of it and what we love about it. So yeah.
Oh man, you brought back loads of memories there. Yaya Sanogo, the man who quit League Two French football to become a postman, and then I think we picked him up on a free transfer.
Something like that,
Postman
wasn't it?
Yaya didn't deliver any goals, but delivered a lot of banter over the years. So
Yeah.
good for something. Oh,
Well,
anyway, mate.
thank
Very
you for
nice
having me.
talking to you today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and
Yeah, you too, man.
hope United put in a nice performance for you as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed.